Now, we've been covering various states' harsh and cruel border restrictions for a year and a half here on this program, but I think we can safely say we've reached peak stupidity. A fully vaccinated doctor has been forced to spend the night sleeping on the floor in a prayer room at Melbourne Airport because of strict internal border rules. Dr Vinu Verghis joins me from hotel quarantine in Queensland now to explain. Thanks for joining us, Vinu. I really appreciate your time. You had to go back home to India to bury your mother, sadly. And you had to come to get back to Queensland. You had to come via Melbourne, a 17-hour layover, and you were not allowed to leave the airport, or you wouldn't have been able to get back into Queensland. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I arrived at 11:30 on 2nd of November, and I was told I cannot leave the airport. If I leave the airport, I would be considered as a domestic traveller, and that would take another 10 days minimum processing. There's no guarantee that I would be allowed back home.
It's just extraordinary. You're double vaccinated. If you'd flown into Sydney, you could have walked out into our country without quarantine, yet you were put through this. I just want to show everyone a video you posted on social media at the time when you were stuck in Melbourne Airport.
So here I am in Melbourne Airport, spending my night after 36 hours and after going through enough emotional turmoil in an Islamic prayer room because the government will not let me go and stay in a hotel. This is my accommodation for tonight. This is my bed and my trolley, if you can see that, there. And I will be sleeping there on the floor. How is this even fair? My connection flight to Brisbane is tomorrow at around 4 o'clock. That means I am spending 17 hours in this airport because if I leave, I'm not allowed to go back home.
It seems crazy, Vinu, because you could have gone and stayed at the hotel there at the airport. You would have stayed away from everybody. You're a doctor, you're aware of the risk. You're fully vaccinated. And this is at the same time where if you flew into Australia now, into Sydney, you could just go into the community without quarantine. Now, you're obviously, now you're back in Brisbane and you're having to do 2 weeks quarantine at your expense before you can go home.
Prisoners in Australia are allowed 1 hour of fresh air access. I have 0. How is this right? 2/3 of the Queensland population are vaccinated, 1/3 are not. This 1/3 is holding the 2/3 to ransom. And people like me have to stay in this prison. I think I'm a prisoner. There's no other excuse for this. And I have to stay here because I have to protect the 1/3 that do not want to get vaccinated. How is this fair?